Right, let's talk Liverpool and Newcastle now. Are the pieces falling into place for Alexander Isak to make a move to Liverpool before deadline day on Monday? Well, Vinny O'Connor is at Liverpool's training ground. Keith Downey is at Newcastle. I tell you what, let's go to Vinny first. Afternoon, Vinny. What did Arne Slot have to say about potential incomings?
Well, Liverpool are prepared for not adding further attacking options to their squad before that Monday deadline. I think we actually see that in their stance regarding Harvey Elliott's future now as well, who could possibly remain as a Liverpool player once that window has closed. Remember, earlier this month, he was speaking to Leipzig about a possible move as well. But as yet, Liverpool have received no indication from Leipzig that they're ready to make an offer worth considering. So, in the absence of any attacking options coming in, and the likelihood at the minute, certainly from a Liverpool standpoint, is that it's unlikely they will add further attacking options, then Harvey Elliott will very much be a Liverpool player. In fact, Liverpool will resist interest in Harvey Elliott as well up until that point. And that said, Liverpool are ready to move if identified targets become available at the right price, of course, as well. So far, Alexander Isak hasn't fitted in that respect, just in terms of the valuation, of course, how far apart Liverpool and Newcastle are in terms of that valuation as well. So how likely is it we will see new faces here before Monday? This is what Arne Slot had to say.
As always, we try to sign players that can help us, but there's no reason after the first two games to complain or to think we need more. But if we can strengthen the squad, then we will always try to do that if it's for the right money and it's the right player.
And Slot also had some interesting words, interestingly, about Newcastle's possible new signing, Nick Woltemade.
That's right, and of course everyone is putting two and two together and thinking this could be the signing at Newcastle that then enables Alexander Isak to leave the football club as well. I mean, clearly from a Liverpool perspective as well, he fits into one category as a player who would undoubtedly improve their squad. But as I mentioned earlier, the fact that the clubs are some way apart in terms of the valuation, that's why a deal is prohibited, because obviously Liverpool have not gone back to the table because Newcastle initially rejected that bid, that £110 million bid plus add-ons out of hand. Of course, Newcastle have faced their own problems in trying to bring in strikers as well during this transfer window. Ekitike, of course, ultimately wanted to join Liverpool. Wolves have resisted attempts to sign Strang Larsson, as have Brentford with Visser as well. In Woltemade, though, it looks like Newcastle are finally getting that deal for a striker over the line, at least as well. And clearly, Arne Slot was not going to bite on the possible domino effect of him arriving at Newcastle and then Alexander Isak coming here. At the same time, it seems that Arne Slot is pretty pleased for Eddie Howe that he's finally been able to get a number 9.
Newcastle signed, if it's true, and I have no reason not to believe what you are saying, a new number 9. So that's very nice for Eddie, because Anthony Gordon is suspended and Isak has not been training with the team a lot. So it's nice for him to have another number 9.
So we keep talking about Liverpool possibly adding to the forward line. We've not even mentioned Mark Gay as yet, of course. Liverpool possibly looking to strengthen at the back. So it wouldn't be too much of a surprise if Liverpool were to do business between now and the closure of the transfer window. But at the moment, it's very much a case of it remains to be seen.
Big news from your press conference with Slot. We heard him ask you what you had for breakfast, Vinny, and you responded that you had a stale donut. We thought you were a healthier man than that.
I can tell you it wasn't stale, it was far from stale, but I will agree with you in terms of the unhealthiness of my breakfast. To be fair, Arne Slot, I saw him after the press conference as well. He says, your job in there is to make my life difficult. I'm going to make your life difficult. He said, I bet you've had a message from back home, haven't you, about the unhealthiness of your breakfast. I said, yeah, you've dropped me right in it.
Well, listen, I think they'll make sure you've got some fresh donuts next time you go there after that. Thanks very much, mate. Right, those are the thoughts then of Arne Slot on Nick Woltemade. But what did Eddie Howe have to say about the German international's move to Newcastle? Well, Keith Downey can tell us right now. I reckon Keith's a lot healthier and he eats a good cereal or fruit for his breakfast. Just bring us up to speed on the latest, please, Keith, concerning Newcastle's club record £69 million offer for the Stuttgart striker.
Yeah, firstly, I've not had time to have breakfast this morning, such as how quick this transfer has happened for Newcastle United. It's been a frantic 24 hours or so on Tyneside as Newcastle desperately tried to get at least one striker in before Monday's 7 o'clock deadline. And yesterday's move for the German international, Nick Woldemade, came out of the blue, didn't it? He had been linked with Newcastle earlier in the window, but it felt very much like he was going to Bayern Munich. I think they'd had multiple offers for the Stuttgart striker turned down, only for Newcastle to come in at the very last minute last night, agree a deal, get him over here to the northeast, and he's currently now here in Newcastle undergoing his medical ahead of that £69 million move from Stuttgart. That of course represents a club transfer record for Newcastle, which has stood for 3 years. Incidentally, that was for Alexander Isak, who arrived for £63 million. Newcastle hoping to get that one wrapped up today to allow them to then move on to another striking target, which of course could then have ramifications to Alexander Isak, which I'm sure we will get onto in a moment. But Woldemade on Tyneside right now, having his medical. Eddie Howe did suggest earlier on this morning, though, at his news conference, they're very unlikely to have him registered in time to play against Leeds in the live match on Sky tomorrow at 5:30. But this is what he told us this morning on the imminent arrival of Nick Woldemade.
What can you say to us about the move for Nick Woldemade?
Not too much, Reza, but positive signs. I think things are moving and developing in a good way at the moment. So until things are done, can't confirm anything. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Would it be your hope that he could be registered in time for Leeds, if that's possible?
I don't think that is going to be possible due to lots of reasons that I don't understand. But I think that the most important thing is that we try and bring a centre forward in. That's what we've been working towards really hard all summer. So hopefully we're getting closer.
Well, lots of people obviously speculating that a move for Woldemade would speed up Alexander Isak's exit from the club. Did Howe give us any update on his future?
Look, I don't think Eddie Howe wants to go into too much detail about that. It's been dealt with by powers above him. But look, my understanding of the situation is that Newcastle are looking to bring in one, if not two strikers, to in turn open the door for Alexander Isak's departure. He's made it clear he doesn't want to play for the club. Newcastle's owners tried on Monday to change his mind, but there was no resolution to that. So I think Newcastle are in a difficult situation here. Do they keep a player who could potentially refuse to play after the closure of the window? That would be a risk that they would take. Or do they try and rid themselves of a situation, a cloud that has hung over the football club for the majority of the summer? And it feels very much at this moment in time they are leaning towards the latter. But it's crucial for them, again, like they said in their statement last week in retort to Alexander Isak's social media post, it's crucial that they bring in a replacement or two. I think they're still trying for a second striker to come in. I think if Woldemade gets done and they fail to get another one, there is a decision to make with regards to allowing Isak to go. I think if they get in a second striker, I think there's every chance that Alexander Isak goes. Of course, Liverpool still need to make the offer. It needs to be an offer that's attractive to Newcastle. That first offer, of course, was £110 million plus add-ons. I would suggest that has to rise significantly from that. I think it's unlikely they will get the £150 million price tag they had on his head, but perhaps Newcastle and Liverpool can come to some kind of agreement midway between that. Now, Eddie Howe didn't want to talk too much in Isak because he's away from the first team squad at the moment. I don't think he's spoken to him for over a week now, but this is the insight he gave us to the situation. And read between the lines here from what Eddie Howe is saying.
Given how active you are at the moment, I know obviously it feels like this plate's spinning, but what does that activity mean for the future of Alexander Isak? Do you expect him to still be a Newcastle player come Monday evening?
Difficult for me to give you any clarity on the future, Keith. I've said before, I don't know what the future holds in that respect because I'm not dealing with it myself. I've got no update from what I spoke about the other day. I'm concentrating on trying to bring players to the club.
So that was Eddie House saying he had no update. But look, it's my understanding Newcastle trying to bring players in to allow Alexander Isak to get his wish and join Liverpool. They have tried for a number of weeks to sign Johan Wissa from Brentford. I believe that deal is still alive, and there is hope from Newcastle's side that they can get that deal done. And they retain an interest as well in Wolves striker Jorgen Strand Larsen. They had 2 offers turned down earlier on this week. The latest of those was £60 million, but I think Newcastle still hoping they can bring one of those 2 players in, which of course would then have a domino effect and allow Isak to leave if the offer from Liverpool is acceptable to Newcastle United. So the domino's beginning to fall, it feels.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. Get some food in you. Now, Tottenham are making moves late in the transfer window. A defender and an attacking midfielder could join before the deadline. We've got full details in a few minutes' time.